The U.S. weighs joining Israel's fight against Iran. America adds over 1,000 new millionaires per day, and a new report reveals which states pay the most and least in federal taxes. And today's trivia question, which state is home to the most shark-infested beach? Is it Cape Cod? I don't know. We'll find out together. It's Friday, June 20th. This is the Flyover Podcast. Welcome to the Flyover Podcast, taking you above the noise for an unbiased, high-altitude view of today's headlines with daily coverage that's honest and refreshing. Let's cruise the news and land the facts. Good morning. It is finally Friday. I'm your weekday host, Ayla Brown. Thank you so much for joining me today, wherever you're listening from. Let's take off with the biggest headlines of the day. President Trump will decide within 2 weeks whether the U.S. will join Israel's military campaign against Iran, according to a statement delivered Thursday by Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt. An Iranian missile struck a hospital in Israel on Thursday, causing significant damage and injuring at least 71 people, most with minor wounds. Israeli officials condemned the attack as a war crime. A hacker group believed to be aligned with Israel says it seized $90 million from Iran's largest cryptocurrency exchange, claiming the platform was being used to help the Iranian regime evade Western sanctions tied to its nuclear and military programs. Meanwhile, German Chancellor Friedrich Merz backed Israel's offensive, calling it, quote, the dirty work the world needs done. Next, the United States created over 1,000 new millionaires every single day in 2024. 379,000 people who crossed the seven-figure threshold, accounting for more than half of all new millionaires created globally. This wealth explosion was driven by the S&P's 500 25% gain and NASDAQ's 30% leap. But the most fascinating twist is that everyday millionaires with 1 to 5 million in assets now collectively control more wealth than all the world's billionaires combined. While just 15 centibillionaires control $2.4 trillion in assets, women are actually positioned to be the biggest winners in the coming great wealth transfer of $83 trillion expected to pass between generations over the next 20 years. America now hosts nearly 40% of the world's 60 million millionaires, with tiny countries like Luxembourg and Switzerland boasting the highest concentrations, where more than 1 in 7 adults are millionaires. Wow. And Delaware leads the nation in federal tax revenue per person at $24,575 per resident in 2023, followed by Massachusetts at $21,747 and Minnesota at $20,728, according to a new study. Washington, D.C., though, is a major outlier, contributing $54,612 per resident, more than double any other state, due to its high concentration of high-income earners and government-related economic activity. West Virginia, Mississippi, and New Mexico paid the least per capita, each contributing under $6,000 per person. By the way, see your state by going to the show notes below. In politics, a Reuters Ipsos poll released yesterday found 62% of Democrats want party leadership replaced, while 24% disagree. Conducted June 17th through 18th with 1,098 adults, the poll reflects frustration after President Trump's 2024 win. Democrats criticize leaders like Chuck Schumer for not countering President Trump's agenda, like his tariffs, which caused market volatility. Only 29% of Americans view the party favorably, which is a record low. Next, the GOP's rush to pass President Trump's One Big Beautiful Bill Act by July 4th faces opposition. The House-passed bill with tax cuts and Medicaid changes is unpopular, with 42% opposing and 23% supporting it. Senate Democrats, led by Chuck Schumer, oppose Medicaid work requirements, which could cut coverage for 8 million. Republicans, needing 60 Senate votes, face a tight deadline before the recess. And hundreds gathered Wednesday night at Minnesota's state capitol for a vigil honoring Rep. Melissa Hortman and her husband, Mark, who were both killed Saturday by Vance Belter. Belter faces murder charges for the politically motivated attack, which also wounded Senator John Hoffman and his wife, Yvette. Mourners left flowers and candles, with Governor Tim Walz calling Hortman a giant for her abortion rights work. We're brought to you today by Native Path Hydrate. I don't know if you knew this, but 75% of all of us just don't get enough fluid daily. Unlike other drink mixes, though, loaded with sugar or salt, Native Path Hydrate is made with all 9 essential amino acids, plus BCAAs for muscle recovery, and only 230 milligrams of sodium, which is actually perfect for daily use. It's also totally natural, completely sugar-free, and just 5 calories per serving. So whether it's post-workout, during travel, or like me, I had one before I got on the microphone today. That's my story. And maybe for you, it's just getting through a busy day. It's a go-to for hydration without all that junk. And with their 365-day money-back guarantee, there's really no risk. So try it for yourself at nativehydrate.com/flyover. Once again, that's nativehydrate.com/flyover, or click on the link in the description below. We hope that you are loving the podcast extra section. These are those exclusive extra stories just for listeners of the Flyover podcast that you're not going to find in the email edition. First, Los Angeles Dodgers claimed they denied Immigration and Customs Enforcement agents access to stadium parking on Thursday morning, fueling immigration protests across the city. The Department of Homeland Security quickly disputed the claim, stating Customs and Border Protection vehicles were briefly on site for unrelated reasons, and no enforcement action was planned. The clash comes amid heightened tensions in Los Angeles, where protests against President Trump's immigration policies have prompted the deployment of federal troops. The Dodgers say they'll announce new support for immigrant communities as pressure builds. And Pope Leo XIV, the first American pope, has a surprising roster of celebrity relatives, according to a historian's deep dive into his family tree. The pope is distantly related to stars like Madonna, Justin Bieber, Angelina Jolie, and Hillary Clinton, with ancestry stretching from Haiti and Cuba to France and Canada. His background includes both Black and white ancestors, as well as forebears who were also slaveholders. He was elected pope in May following the death of Pope Francis. And how about this? A feng shui expert is cautioning folks to keep 4 everyday items out of the bedroom to avoid bad energy and health woes. The expert flagged fresh flowers, trash bins, medicines, and metal tools like scissors as culprits that actually disrupt harmony, especially for couples. He says flowers can attract, quote, third-party involvement, trash carries murky energy, and sharp metal can pierce your energy shield. Critics online say practicality still wins, especially for those living in tight quarters or managing health needs. Like, you need your medication, right? What do you guys think about this? Leave a comment in the comments section below. That is your podcast extra roundup for Friday. Listeners of the podcast will get these types of exclusive stories every single day. Still to come, the College Baseball World Series finals have their teams. So I'll tell you who's playing and where and when you can watch the games. It's coming right up. In finance, Amazon Zoox subsidiary launched a 220,000 square foot robo-taxi factory in Hayward, California on Wednesday. It's the first U.S. facility for autonomous vehicles without steering wheels or pedals. The plant aims to produce 10,000 robo-taxis yearly by 2027. Zoox plans commercial services in Las Vegas and San Francisco in 2025. Next, Russia's economy minister warned Thursday of an impending recession, speaking at the St. Petersburg Economic Forum. Western sanctions over Ukraine and falling oil prices cut GDP growth to 0.2% in Q1 of 2025. Inflation hit 8.1%, and the ruble fell 15% against the dollar in 2024. Russia faces a $40 billion budget deficit. And Costco's 1-ounce gold bars. Did you buy one of those? Well, they sold for $2,399 in June of 2024. They now fetch $3,390, a 41% gain. Gold prices hit $2,650 per ounce, driven by geopolitical tensions and inflation fears. Costco sold $200 million in gold monthly in 2024, with limits of 5 bars per member. And buyers have been reselling those on eBay for up to $3,500. In sports, the 2025 Baseball College World Series Final features number 6 LSU versus number 13 Coastal Carolina, starting Saturday at 7 p.m. Eastern on ESPN. Game 2 is Sunday at 2:30 p.m. Eastern on ABC, and Game 3, if it is needed, is next Monday at 7:30 p.m. Eastern on ESPN. I don't know who your favorite is, but LSU is favored at -190, Coastal at +150. The Tigers seek their 8th title, Coastal their 2nd since 2016. And oopsies, the Florida Panthers reportedly damaged their Stanley Cup during the June 2025 championship celebration. The 35-pound trophy, won after defeating Edmonton 4-3, was dented, at the base and cracked in the bowl. Players dropped it during a Miami bar crawl, with photos showing Alexander Barkov and Sam Reinhart posing with the damaged cup. If you're wondering how the repairs work, don't worry. They're underway in Montreal, costing $10,000. The cup, remade in 1993, has survived worse, like a 2008 Red Wings pool toss. They just don't make things like they used to anymore, right? And lastly, ESPN's NFL All-Quarter Century team, ranking players since 2000, named Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, and Patrick Mahomes as top quarterbacks. Brady with 7 Super Bowls, led with 98% voter approval. Manning with 5 MVPs, and Mahomes with 3 rings followed. Other picks include Aaron Donald, who's a defensive tackle, wide receiver Randy Moss, and linebacker Ray Lewis. The list, voted on by 50 analysts, sparked debate over Drew Brees' third-team slot. In science and tech, a SpaceX Starship upper stage, Ship 36, exploded Wednesday at 11 p.m. Central during a static fire test at Starbase in Brownsville, Texas. The blast, captured by NASA's spaceflight.com, sent a fireball skyward while the rocket was loaded with liquid methane and oxygen. No injuries occurred and no public hazards were reported. Elon Musk suggested a nitrogen storage container failure, a first for the design. This marks the 4th Starship failure in 2025, following explosions in January, March, and May, delaying NASA's Artemis III lunar mission. Next, Boone, North Carolina named the Eastern Hellbender, a 2-foot-long salamander, as its regional mascot. Nicknamed Snot Otter for its slimy skin, the Hellbender symbolizes clean rivers, thriving only in unpolluted waters. Local groups like the High Country Hellbender Alliance pushed the designation to promote conservation. Boone's mayor signed the proclamation on June 10th, citing community resilience after 2024's Helene flooding. The mascot also inspired T-shirts and a brewery's Snot Otter Stout. You ever wondered what one of these things look like? I keep smiling and laughing because I've seen a photo of it, and you can too. Don't worry, we put a link in the show notes so you can see for yourself below. Here are some entertainment headlines for your Friday. A new photo series marks Paul McCartney's 83rd birthday, showcasing his rise from Liverpool to music legend. Featuring 1963-64 Beatlemania shots from Miami to New York, it highlights his songwriting also with John Lennon. And Jeremy Allen White stars as Bruce Springsteen in the Deliver Me from Nowhere trailer, depicting the 1982 Nebraska album's creation. White's singing of the song Born to Run divides fans, with some praising his voice and others criticizing his look. And lastly, Al Pacino met Pope Leo XIV on Monday at the Vatican. It actually is the first documented audience between the American Pope and a movie star discussing faith and art. Pacino gave a signed Godfather script to the Pope as a gift. What a gift! Coming up, a Swedish bakery sold a box of 5 potato chips. 1, 2, 3, 5 potato chips. You won't believe how much they sold them for. The answer is right around the corner. Here are some stories we just couldn't leave out, especially on a Friday. English Heritage will live stream Stonehenge's summer solstice sunset and sunrise on June 20th and 21st via their official Facebook and YouTube channels. The sunset stream starts at 3 p.m. Eastern on June 20th with sunset at 4:25 Eastern. The sunrise stream begins at 11 p.m. Eastern on June 20th with sunrise at 11:51 p.m. Eastern. Okay? I hope you wrote all that down because I'm not repeating it again. The free streams, by the way, which were viewed by 200,000 people globally last year, align with the sun rising over the heel stone. It's beautiful to see. Next, Michigan wildlife officials trapped a 110-pound black bear in Oscoda County on June 17th after it lived 2 years with a plastic barrel lid around its neck. The bear was nicknamed Barrel. That's cute. And he was freed using tranquilizers and bolt cutters by the DNR and local groups. Now, at a rehabilitation center, it gained weight, but sadly faces a little bit of health risk from the constriction around the neck. Public tips led to the rescue of the bear. I promised you I'd tell you how much it costs. Swedish bakery, it's called St. Eric's, sold a $75 box of 5 potato chips. That's $15 each chip as a 2016 publicity stunt. Crafted with chef Jonas Dahlbom, the chips used rare ingredients like matsutake mushrooms, those must be good, they come from Sweden, and truffle seaweed from Faroe Islands. The one-off batch of almost 100 boxes sold, well, it sold out in days, with proceeds, though, aiding charity. Here's yesterday's poll question and the results. Would you trust a robot to perform surgery on you? 40% said maybe, 31% said no, and 29% said yes. I was one of the majority of the people who voted Maybe. But here's the poll question for today, and we're changing things up a little bit. If you would like to vote in the polls, which we always encourage you to do, there's actually a link in the description in the show notes right now. So you can just go to the show notes and vote, and Amy Hess will actually read the answers in tomorrow's episode. Here's the question. Have you ever been to Stonehenge? Yes, no, or I'd like to? I think there should be a fourth answer to what is Stonehenge? This is the first I've ever heard about it. I must be living under a rock. No pun intended. I actually came up with that joke. But sure, I would love to visit it. That sounds beautiful. I'm going to be voting yes. Do-do, do-do. Sorry. Here's the trivia question for today. Which state is home to the most shark-infested beach? I would have thought it was somewhere on Cape Cod. I live in Massachusetts, and every time you go to the Cape, there are big signs that say beware of sharks, and there's shark trackers, there's apps where you can see the sharks, but sounds like I'm wrong. The answer is New Smyrna Beach, Florida, is known as the most shark-infested beach in the U.S. Infamous for its high number of shark encounters, it's been dubbed the shark bite capital of the world by Business Insider. While all of coastal Florida sees shark activity, this specific beach has an especially alarming rates of incidents. I didn't know that, and it kind of makes me feel a little bit better about going to the Cape Cod beaches. That's a wrap for today's Friday episode. It has been an honor and a pleasure spending 19 days straight delivering the headlines and giving them to you while Amy Hess has been on vacation on the weekend. So I have great news. She's back. She's going to be giving you tomorrow's episode for Saturday and Sunday, and I will be back on Monday, bright and early, giving you the best news, the best headlines, and a little bit of encouragement, of course, as you start a new week. So once again, share, like, comment, and thanks for flying with us.